After a delay on Monday, tomorrow afternoon, NASA will launch a new chapter in space exploration with the Artemis I mission. This mission is the first phase of a brand new program which will pave the way for humans to go to the moon, back to the moon, and beyond. To talk about this historic mission, we are joined by Jacob Bleacher, Chief Exploration Scientist with NASA. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's really exciting times around here.
Absolutely. So the delay we had on Monday, refueling issues with Engine 3 obviously resolved. This is NASA's biggest rocket, new technology. Delays and scrubs like this are par for the course, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, we're learning. Every day is learning about how to fly this thing, and that's what Artemis I is all about. Testing out the SLS, the Space Launch System, that's the rocket, and then the Orion crew capsule. As a mission, we're going to fly around the moon. No crew members, no astronauts this time, but it's all about learning how to fly this vehicle. So, and that includes fueling up, getting ready to go up to that launch point.
Tell us about this mission, big picture.
Yeah, big picture, this is the test flight, Artemis I, for basically all the rest of Artemis. So we're learning how to launch the SLS integrated with our Orion crew capsule. Again, no crew members on this flight, but we're going to push the Orion out into a lunar orbit, test out the system, test out its navigation capabilities, how it handles out there in deep space, bring it home. It'll splash down in the Pacific Ocean off of San Diego. Then we go retrieve it. So it's really mimicking a whole mission. And then it will set the stage for us to go for Artemis II, which will kind of be the same mission, but with astronauts on board.
Right, including a Canadian astronaut. Now, Jacob, you look a lot younger than me, but I remember the early days of Apollo. And there's a lot of similarities here, but what are the differences?
Yeah, and you used a word I really like in the introduction here, chapter. This is the next chapter. And when you say chapter, you're kind of implying there's a book. And we're talking about the book of exploration here. Apollo was an early chapter. What we did with Apollo was we landed near the equator on the near side of the moon. And we really tested out our ability to go there, spend a few days, and come home. Since then, we've learned a good bit from the International Space Station, from Skylab, the space shuttle, about kind of just surviving out in space, which puts us in a position now through Artemis to go to the moon with astronauts and spend more time there and really start to lay kind of the basic infrastructure that through partnership we can start building a lunar economy for exploration.
Okay, so walk us through the steps here. So Artemis I, proof of concept and orbiting the moon, astronauts on board Artemis II, and as I mentioned, including a Canadian astronaut. Let's talk about Artemis III. That will put humans back on the moon. What's the timeline of that mission?
So for Artemis III, we're aiming for late 2025. And that would land our astronauts in the south polar region of the moon. And this is a totally unexplored area for us. Just like we learned with the International Space Station about surviving in space, science has learned a lot about the moon as well. And now we think there's actually water in the polar regions because there's some places there that never see sunlight. So ice can get trapped there and not kind of burned off by the solar wind. So we're going to a place where we think we can actually establish a little bit of a foothold on the moon and grow from there.
And this is really necessary for a Mars mission, kind of a practice run.
Yep. I mean, this is, again, with this book analogy, right? There's going to be a Mars chapter too, and there may be other chapters, right? So right now what we're learning is how to basically write that blueprint for solar system exploration. So, and that's not a NASA only kind of thing, right? We're trying to get the foothold started, but we really need partners to participate here internationally through industry and commercial, academia even, and we're trying to learn how to build those partnerships and really branch out into the solar system.
Yeah, and many agencies are involved, including the Canada Space Agency. And in the less than a minute that we have left, can we talk about the Gateway orbiting station too, because that's a big part of this as well.
Yeah, that will be a big piece of the overall Artemis campaign. It's not something that Artemis I is involved with, but the Gateway is an orbiting kind of research station. It's also kind of an outpost where the Orion could go with our astronauts and dock with the Gateway, and that takes some of the stress off the Orion. And then we're also designing a system called the Human Landing System that's sort of like a ferry between the Gateway in the lunar orbit and the lunar surface. So we're really trying to break this whole architecture up into pieces pieces that handle, I like to refer to them as legs of the trip. And so each of those systems can be optimized for what it needs to do, and you don't have to put all the stress of the entire trip on one vehicle. And so the Gateway is a key place where we can do research in deep space, but also support activities to the lunar surface and back to Earth. We're back to such an exciting time in space exploration. It's got to be exciting for you as a chief exploration scientist with NASA. Where do we go to learn more about Artemis? Just go to nasa.gov. You are going to find all kinds of links there for whatever it is you want to look for. But this is the big news right now. So just go to the top page, nasa.gov, and you'll find plenty of links. Okay, and exactly what time tomorrow afternoon is liftoff? The window opens at 2:17. Okay, we'll be watching. Thanks for joining us, Jacob Bleacher from NASA. Yep, thank you.